Welcome, everybody, to the Takeaways edition of the Vegas Nation podcast. I'm your host, Heidi Fang. We're brought to you by Station Casinos, STN Sports. Download the mobile app today. We're also presented to you on Blue Wire Podcast and with Liquid Death. Thank you, everybody, so much for tuning in. Join with Raider alum, the fastest man on the planet, Willie Gault. Thank you so much, Willie, for taking the time to join us here today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited to have you on. The Raiders 5K is coming up. We're going to be talking about that at Allegiant Stadium March 4th. This is a great opportunity for the Raiders to give back to the community. This event is sponsoring Hope Means Nevada. What does that, as in partnership with Hope Means Nevada, what does that mean for this organization to be able to give back to the community in this way?
Well, the Raiders has always been synonymous with giving back and giving people an opportunity, especially like guys who have played in the league for a long time and other teams didn't want them. The Raiders will give them opportunity. So it's very natural for them to help in the community. Always a big community-based team. Mr. Davis, Al Davis started that, and of course his son Mark takes over and does the same thing. It's important because we as athletes we have a certain spotlight on us, and we're able to garner talent and other people to look at what we do and then be able to help people by doing that. So this is a great thing, and I'm excited about this 5K.
Again, like I mentioned, fastest man on the planet. And I say that because you had that pedigree coming in, one of the fastest in the NFL, probably still to date when you look at the times, and thinking about the hurdles that you ran. I'm a former hurdler.
Oh, wow.
I used
Awesome.
to actually
That's
run.
exactly.
Yeah, I ran the
Yeah.
high hurdles, the low hurdles, and did the 4x1 as well. My record
Wow.
held on a wall, I think, for 3 years, but not quite
Awesome.
like yours.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Thank you. So as you kind of take over, in doing this with the team and being able to kind of still put those wheels on, what does that mean to you to be able to still kind of be a part with this organization and still be able to come out and raise the banners, if you will, for the Raiders in Las Vegas?
Well, running has been such a huge part of my life. I've been running since I was 6 years old. I remember when I was in just going to school and running around a little circle and out running it and running faster than everyone else and then chasing buses. And, running has just been synonymous with me. I love running. The sport of running is amazing. It's great for your body, for your health. And also in this case, it's great to raise money to help people with, different problems, whether it be, mental problems or physical problems. So it's a way to do something to help you. Running is not nothing else is like it. I mean, it's you against yourself, and it's you to challenge yourself, and only you can control it. No one else can. So, as far as speed goes, of course, God-given ability and talent, but you have to work on it too. You have to work really hard. As a hurdler, and as a sprinter, as a track person, you just don't go out and run fast. You have to go out and practice and run distance and run 60s and 80s, 200s, 150, 300s. So there's an art to it. It's not just, oh, he's fast. Yeah, he's fast, but he worked really hard. I mean, Usain Bolt didn't become the fastest man ever by just not training. So it takes training. It's like indicative of life. If you want to be a doctor, you just got to go to doctor. You got to go to medical school. You can't go, okay, I'm just going to be a doctor. Anything you do, you have to train. A lawyer, you have to do the time. You have to, study the books. I mean, to be a head coach, same thing. To be a player, same thing. So all these things are relative. They're all similar to life. I mean, it's indicative of life. And this is basically the same thing. We have been given talents by God that we do something spectacular on the football field or the track. And people look at that. So we have an opportunity to give back from that and influence someone's life or help someone. I think that's a great thing. And the Raiders have always been synonymous with that. They've always given back. Their players are always giving back to the community, whether it be in Oakland or it was in LA here or now back in Vegas. That's you don't expect anything different from the Raiders, and I'm very pleased to be able to. I played golf at the golf tournament last week to help raise money for charities there, and I go and I do what I can, and as much as I'm offered and asked, I try to do it because it's important.
It's wonderful that you do, and as so many other athletes as well do. The Raiders as an organization have been doing that since day one here. Before they even were in Nevada, they started doing work here with the community to really establish themselves. And one of the things that I think you mentioned there about doing the reps for your body, the practice, the work that goes into it, I think the same amount goes for mental fortitude. And what they're doing with Hope Means Nevada means that people can get help to fortify their mental strength. strength, to be people who can fight and combat that as well. What have you thought about how the NFL has really raised awareness on this as well, just as a whole, not just with the Raiders?
Well, it's a huge problem in our country and globally, really. And it's not just a problem in for other people; it's a problem for players too. Some players are suffer with the same thing. So, it's a problem that we have to tackle because no man's an island. We're all in this thing together. No matter what people think, red states, blue states, it doesn't matter. We're just all human. We're all the human race, and we have to help each other out. And I think that's what the Raiders have always been that. I mean, first black head coach, Art Shell. First woman general manager, Amy Trask. First now black woman GM. So, I mean, we've always been synonymous with giving people opportunity, no matter what color skins or whatever. It's just people. Great people attract great people. And that's what the Raiders are all about as far as I'm concerned and what I know from what I know. Al Davis, now Mark Davis.
You mentioned that, and I think back to your time with the Bears too. I mean, they've had from the teams that you were on, like players, that have had, like Jim McMahon, had to go in and get multiple surgeries for different things and going through the operating table and having to deal with that. And in
Right.
terms of physical strength, like what do you think, just on average, a player can go through in their post experiences, and how to even, like you said, it's not just players, but just to strengthen what the time was that they spent like really
Right.
sacrificing their bodies.
Well, it can be a very difficult thing. I mean, think about it. Most players play a little bit before high school. They play 4 years of high school, then 4 years of college. That's 8 years, and then they play in the league for 8 or 10 years. That's 18 or 20 years of their life that they're devoting to football. And when you get out, or if you retire, or you get hurt, you leave not on your term. It could be very mentally stressing. And it could be very difficult because you're accustomed to doing something all your life one way, or something that you love, like football, and now you can't do it anymore because you're older. I mean, we've had tragedies in the league like Dave Dorson, and
Yeah.
who was a teammate of mine,
Right.
Junior Seau, who was a friend. It's from San Diego, and the list
So
goes on and
sorry.
on. So those things are very we're aware of them, and we think about them, and we try to pray for those guys who are going through that, and have gone through that. And there's tremendous need globally and also in the U.S. to find a cure for those things and to help those people who need help. And that's what the Raiders are doing. That's what this 5K is doing. It's trying to help raise money to bring awareness and treatment for mental health.
If you don't mind, would you mind sharing your experience and how you process what happened with Dave Diverson? You mentioned his name, and I know
Right,
he took his life. I didn't know if you would mind sharing that experience with us of your
right.
processing and how that went for you.
Well, of course, I played with Dave for 5 years. We came in the league
Right.
together, and he was our starting safety,
Mm-hmm.
strong safety. The thing about it is that I didn't know he had a problem. I had seen him probably 4 months before that happened. He was telling me that he was about to get remarried. He was happy, seemed to be happy. From what I knew, it seemed like the same Dave Dorson. He was happy-go-lucky guy, always was. And then the next thing I know, I read in the paper or the news that he had taken his life. So it's one of those things where you just never know what people are going through when they're going through it. And some people don't tell you because they're very private. So that's why you have to be close to people. Their friends, you have to really make sure you check in on people. I check in on my guys as much as I can, and I let those guys know I love them, that I appreciate them, what they did for me, and even the guys before me, like the Fred Biletnikoffs. Those guys, I mean, I love Freddie. I tell him that all the time when I see him, and I'm around him as much as I can to let him know I appreciate him. A guy like Jim Brown, who I see occasionally now, a lot here in LA, I go and see him. I try to let those guys know I appreciate what they did for the league and for me to have that guy to look up to. And Jim is one of my heroes. So I pray for him, and I spend time with him. And that's what it's all about because, we as humans, we get tied up sometimes. We in our own lives. And I think it's always better sometimes just to sit down, take a break, look at things that are important, the people who are around you, people that you love, to tell them you love them. Because when they're gone, you can't tell them. So I try to make sure I do that always when I see all the guys that I know and I play with and people that meant a lot to me. I try to always make sure they know that I really care about them and that if I can do anything for them, I will. And if you need me, call me. Because sometimes people just need to talk. they need someone to talk to, someone that's not going to judge them. Someone's going to be an ear, and someone's going to say, okay, this is how I did it. This is what happened to me. And maybe if you can do the same thing, or you can think this way, and it gives people an option, because everyone's going to make their own choice because they're grown people. But sometimes people just need an ear to listen. I hear that all the time. So thank you for just listening to me, or talking to me about it, because you've been through it. I know you understand. So, it's always good to hear a different side, a different perspective. And it gives people hope sometimes, and I'm positive about everything. I'm positive about life. I'm positive about, whatever it is. I want to make sure that people do the very best that they can while they're here, and they enjoy it. See, that glass is half full, not half empty. You know, and that's what life is all about. Sure, I'd rather be playing in this league where there's social media and there's millions of dollars being spent all over, but I wasn't. So I'm satisfied with where I was, what I did, my accomplishment. I did the best I could at the time, with what I had to work with. I love to catch 100 passes a year, but I couldn't because we didn't throw the ball that much. We had a guy named Walter Payton who was pretty good.
I think I heard of him before.
And then we had like Marcus Allen, we had Bo
Yeah.
Jackson,
Yeah.
Eric Dickerson, we had Tim Brown on the other side. So, but I did my thing. I cleared out, I ran, I played the game as hard as I could. Yeah. I didn't complain. I played 12 years. I never missed a game in my life. So I can feel good about that, my contribution to the National Football League.
And through those contributions, you do have a Super Bowl ring and the Pro Bowl. So
right.
Not too bad.
And two Olympic teams too.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's good. The Winter and Summer Olympics. So I feel good about my life, my career, and what I did and what I was able to accomplish and how I did it. I did it the right way, and I worked really hard. I didn't leave it up to chance. I didn't blame anyone but myself. I mean, I can only blame myself. If I worked hard, then I saw the results. If I didn't work hard, then you wouldn't see the results. But I worked really hard.
Now, I've got to ask you, because I know about the Summer Olympics 1980. It was supposed to be in Moscow. The U.S. team did not go, but you were a part of that team. But then, and the next one was a Winter Olympics, right?
Correct.
And you were part of the bobsled team?
Bobsled, right.
Yeah, so tell me about that. How did this come to be?
I wanted to be in both Summer and Winter Olympics, and I sort of narrowed down what I could do in the Winter Olympics. I couldn't speed skate. I wasn't going to ski jump. I couldn't ski really well, but I could run and jump in and hold on for dear life. So that's what I did. And that was
nice.
Nice. Yes.
To that, we talk about the Raiders coming up here the next season, and they've got Devontae Adams. I mean, what a treasure he is for this team to have. But when you think about speed, they don't really have that wide receiver right now that is that speed guy that could take the top off. Right. How important is it, do you think, that the Raiders try to get somebody like that?
Well, I think it's very important. I mean, Al Davis thought it was one of the most important things for an offense to have. I mean, even if the guy didn't catch the ball, just overthrow him by 10 yards, but he beats everyone. It shows the defense that you're going to throw the ball deep, and they can't just sit in the box and tackle their running back or play conservative. They have to have someone back, and that's an extra guy that you don't have to beat. So I think it's very important to have that speed guy. I mean, most teams have speed guys. I mean, look at what Tyreek Hill did for Kansas City and what he did for Miami now. But there are some speed guys out there that can get deep and will get deep, and I think you just got to do it. You got to throw the ball deep at least once a quarter, So just to say, hey, we're here, it's going to happen, and you're going to catch one or two, and that's all you need.
I got a couple more for you here. I'm sure you're aware that the Raiders right now are still in pursuit of a quarterback. Is there anyone out there right now that you think could make a real good fit for this team, or is it somebody that they might find in the draft that can help build the future of the franchise?
Well, I'm sure I met the coach this weekend while I was in Vegas. I'm sure they're going to do a great job with whomever they get. I mean, there's guys out there that that can play. I mean, but I'm not sure who's really on their radar. And I can't really say who. I mean, I love Aaron Rodgers. I love Garoppolo. I love the guys in college. Sure. A couple of guys in college. Yeah. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, I'm not sure what they're thinking, but whatever they do, we'll be pulling for them and hope for the best.
And last one for you, Hope Needs Nevada, the 5K, March 4th. What will your role be, and where can people go to sign up to be a part of this event at Allegiant?
Well, I think at Allegiant on the website, and my part is that I'm going to be cheering people on, saying go. I won't be running.
I thought you'd be running, Willie.
No, I'm a sprinter. I go fast. I don't go long. I go long, fast, but quick. No,
200s for us sprinters is a lot.
I don't like driving 5K. I don't like driving a mile. I want to run fast and quick and sit down.
Yeah, I hear that. When I had to run like the one time I filled in on the 4x16 and I was
Oh
like,
my
I have to
God.
do what?
Yeah, I know. I did that one time at Melrose, and the guys laughed at me so bad. It was so bad.
But we had to all we had to do in that one day was to be able to place in the tournament.
Right.
So they were
Exactly.
just like, just run the lap hard as
Just
you
go
can. You'll
around.
be the
Right,
first
right,
leg.
right.
Just
Just
go,
do it.
don't
Just do
gas.
it. Do your best. But like,
Oh,
wait.
Stack.
And Michael jumps on
Take
your back
it.
around 300, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The 300 hurdles I did as well, but
Yeah.
it was I trained for it. I was
Oh
ready
yeah.
for it. For you say
Right.
go out run a 400 and these girls are sprinting.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
Oh yeah.
hard.
Around 300, 350, where the monkey jumps on your back. That's crazy. I mean,
Yeah,
400. Yeah. Oh yeah. I felt
exactly.
that feeling many times. Don't like
Exactly.
it. Do not like it.
Well, I really appreciate the time you
My
gave me here
pleasure.
today and joining me. All the
Thank you.
best of luck to you and see you maybe at that 5K.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.